guys, welcome to the Insights into Books podcast, where we discuss insights of significant books which change our lives. But before we really get started with today's book, please do subscribe to the channel for regular updates. Okay, hoping you've done that. Let's start today's discussion. So today we're embarking on, well, quite a profound journey, I think. We're delving into Brianna Wiest's incredibly insightful book, The Mountain Is You, Transforming Self-Sabotage into Self-Mastery.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that title alone is pretty potent, isn't it?
It really is. It grabs you immediately.
Yeah, it suggests this core truth that I think many of us feel deep down, but maybe don't always articulate. You know, those big mountains, the obstacles, the challenges that seem just insurmountable sometimes. The book argues really powerfully that they aren't always external. They're not just, random bad luck or the world being difficult.
Right. It turns the focus inward.
Exactly. More often than we maybe realize, these mountains are actually created from within us. They're like manifestations of our own patterns or habits, and those really deep-seated, often subconscious limiting beliefs that kind of quietly run the show. They dictate what we do, and maybe even more importantly, what we don't do. So this deep dive today is basically going to be a guide, a way to navigate that internal landscape, moving from, that feeling of being stuck in self-sabotage towards hopefully a place of self-mastery.
Yeah, think of it like mapping out your own internal terrain.
Right. It's like a toolkit for getting through the everyday stuff, the mundane even, but in a way that helps you uncover this hidden strength, this resilience you might not even know you have. It's about shifting focus from blaming external hurdles to really mastering yourself.
And that's so important because, honestly, it touches on a huge blind spot in a lot of personal growth talk today, doesn't it?
It really does.
We get bombarded with strategies for productivity, for achieving more, for external success. But this really sneaky, pervasive thing, self-sabotage, it often stays in the shadows. It's not discussed with the depth it really needs.
Good point.
And Weiss just pulls it right into the spotlight. This isn't just, a light self-help read. It's pretty deep. It's like a guide to understanding the subconscious, those hidden gears turning inside, and crucially, how to dismantle the emotional barriers that have been, maybe quietly, holding you back for years. What I really appreciate about it is that it avoids that one-size-fits-all approach, the kind of just do this and you'll be fixed thing.
Right, which really works long term.
Exactly. Instead, it puts the focus back on you, the individual. It urges you to confront your specific internal obstacles. It's a call to look inward, trace the roots of why you feel stuck, not just blaming circumstances.
I love how she uses the mountain climbing metaphor throughout.
Yeah, it works so well. Personal growth as an ascent. And each chapter tackles a different part of that climb, like, grappling with self-doubt, which is huge for so many people, or fear, negativity, the stories we tell ourselves.
Those narratives can be the steepest peaks sometimes.
Totally. It makes these big psychological ideas feel really accessible, So maybe just for a second, as you're listening, think about it. Can you recall a time, maybe looking back, where you felt like your biggest hurdle wasn't something out there, but actually something inside you, even if you didn't consciously realize it then?
Okay, let's really unpack this core idea then, because self-sabotage, it's probably way more complex than we think. The main argument Wiest makes, and this is really key, is that it's not about laziness. It's not a character flaw.
That's such a relief to hear, isn't it? Takes the blame off.
It really does. Instead, she says it's actually like a sophisticated defense mechanism, often totally unconscious. It's your brain trying to fulfill some deep need, maybe even conflicting needs, without you having to face them head on.
Like a sneaky workaround.
Exactly. A sneaky workaround to keep you safe, quote unquote, even if that safety means staying stuck. She uses the example of Carl Jung, the psychologist.
Oh yeah, the fainting spells.
Right. As a kid, he kept fainting. Seemed like a medical issue. But later, he realized it was his unconscious mind's way of getting him out of classes he absolutely hated.
Wow. It just shows how resourceful the brain can be, even in, well, slightly counterproductive ways.
Totally. Sneaky is the word.
Yeah.
And understanding that is why this quote from the book hits so hard. The greatest act of self-love is to no longer accept a life you are unhappy with. It's not about blame. It's about recognizing that dissatisfaction isn't the problem. It's the starting point. It's the signal that something needs to change, that you need to address the self-sabotage.
It reframes unhappiness as a call to action, really.
Yeah, the moment you stop saying yes to a life that doesn't fit.
And that Jung example really opens the door to understanding where this stuff comes from, right? If it's not laziness, what is it? Weiss breaks down some common roots. First up, irrational fears.
Ah, yes, the I'm not good enough committee in your head.
Exactly. That nagging voice saying you're not smart enough for that job or
Hmm.
not interesting enough for that relationship. They feel incredibly real, even if logically they make no sense. They just slam the brakes on everything.
Mhm.
Then there are negative associations. This is where your subconscious links something you actually want with a bad outcome. Like maybe you avoid making more money because deep down you think rich people are somehow bad. Or it'll change you in a negative way.
So success itself feels dangerous.
Precisely. It creates this internal conflict. You want it, but you're also scared of it. Then there's the big one, the scary unknown.
Our brains love predictability.
They really do. Anything new, even if promises amazing things, feels like a loss of control, a threat to safety. That ancient part of our brain just screams, danger.
Mm.
So we stick with the familiar, even if the familiar is kind of miserable.
Comfortably miserable.
That's it. And finally, false beliefs. These are the stories we've absorbed, often without question, from family, society, past experiences. Like believing you're just destined to struggle financially because that's all you've ever known.
Or that relationships always end badly.
Right. These beliefs, even if totally untrue, become self-fulfilling. They guide our actions in ways that confirm them. It's a really tight loop. And to go even deeper, she talks about core commitments. These are like our subconscious prime directives, the things we feel we must achieve or maintain, often without even realizing it.
Okay, like what?
Well, the really fascinating part is that these commitments are often just cover-ups for deeper core needs that aren't being met. For example, if your core commitment is to always be in control, the underlying need might actually be trust.
Ah, so you control because you don't trust things will work out otherwise.
Exactly. You don't trust life or others or maybe even yourself, so you overcompensate with control. Or, say, your commitment is to always be needed. You're the go-to person for everything.
The indispensable one.
Right. But the real unmet need underneath might be to feel genuinely wanted for who you are, not just for what you do.
Okay, I see the difference.
And another big one. If your commitment is to be loved by others at all costs, the starved need is often self-love. And the book shows the less you feed that core need, the louder the commitment symptoms get.
So the controlling person becomes more controlling if they feel trust slipping away.
Precisely. They might become hypervigilant, obsessive, maybe even develop physical anxiety symptoms. It's the subconscious desperately trying to get that need met, but in a distorted way. So maybe think about a pattern in your own life. What deep emotional need might that self-sabotaging behavior actually be trying, however clumsily, to fulfill?
Wow, that distinction between commitments and needs, that really clicks. Okay, so if we get that it's not laziness, it's this complex needs and defenses thing, how does it actually look day to day? Wiest is brilliant at spotting the signs, the subtle ways this plays out, and they're not always huge failures, are they?
No, often they're really quiet,
Yeah.
almost invisible patterns.
Let's dig into some of these, because just recognizing them is huge. First one, resistance.
Oh yeah, the classic.
You have a great idea, you're excited, but suddenly you really need to alphabetize your spice rack.
Or binge watch that entire series you've already seen.
Exactly. Or you start a new relationship, things are good, but you find yourself canceling plans, creating distance, that inner friction around positive things, that's resistance. It's your brain going, whoa, slow down, is this safe?
It's that predictability instinct kicking in.
Totally. Then there's hitting your upper limit. You get the promotion, achieve a goal, and instead of feeling great, you feel like a fraud.
Imposter syndrome flares up.
Right. Or you start slacking off, making mistakes. It's like your subconscious says, nope, too much happiness here. Let's dial it back to familiar territory. Our systems love homeostasis, even if it's a mediocre homeostasis.
Yeah, comfort zone gravity.
Then uprooting often. Constantly changing jobs, cities, relationships, just when they start getting real. Can look like ambition, but
Sometimes it's avoidance. Fear of commitment, fear of vulnerability, fear of what happens if you actually stay somewhere long enough to face yourself.
Exactly. Escape disguised as adventure. And perfectionism. We praise this one, but oh boy.
It's paralyzing.
Totally. You're stuck tweaking the first paragraph forever, terrified of putting out anything less than perfect, so you end up putting out nothing. The perfect becomes the enemy of the good, or even the done.
Very common.
What about emotional processing challenges? Like, you have a bad day, and instead of saying, I feel awful, you snap at someone you love.
Or you just shut down completely, or reach for unhealthy coping mechanisms. It's because we often lack the tools to just feel the feeling, validate it, and let it move through healthfully.
Yeah.
It gets stuck and comes out sideways.
Sideways is a good word for it. Then the endless justification and excuses. I'll start the diet Monday. Too busy for the gym today. The timing isn't right to call them.
Always delaying the positive change. It's that resistance to the discomfort of breaking old habits again.
Yeah. And disorganization. Maybe seems small, but a constantly messy desk, home, or even just mental chaos.
It's often inner chaos spilling outwards, a reflection of your internal state. It subtly hinders your ability to function well.
Okay, this one's interesting. Frequent judging of others. Constantly criticizing people. Wiest says that often comes from your own insecurities, right?
Absolutely. It's a deflection. It keeps the focus off your own stuff and reinforces your own perceived limits instead of letting you learn or be inspired.
And toxic pride or ego, making a mistake but refusing to admit it, refusing help.
Doubling down instead of learning, that blocks growth massively.
Then the illusion of busyness. Always running around doing things, but are you productive or just running from yourself?
Busyness is a shield. Very common in our culture.
And hanging out with negative people. Those friends who just drain you every time.
Yeah, the energy vampires. It's a subtle way to keep yourself down, choosing company that reinforces negative patterns instead of uplifting you.
Then fixating on improbable fears, worrying about, like, a zombie apocalypse.
When the real fear might be asking for a raise or ending a bad relationship. The big, unlikely fear becomes a placeholder for the real, uncomfortable one.
That makes sense. And having a strongly negative focus, always dwelling on what could go wrong.
Which kind of primes you to see the negative and maybe even attract it, or at least miss the positive opportunities.
Yeah.
Your focus really does shape your reality.
Avoiding uncomfortable realities, not checking bank statements if you're in debt, ignoring a health concern.
Correct sabotage prevents you from taking action to fix the actual problem.
And finally, a big one. Valuing appearances over feelings. More worried about looking happy and successful than actually feeling content.
Yeah, chasing external validation instead of internal well-being. That's a recipe for feeling empty. All these signs, big and small, are ways we hold ourselves back. That is such a comprehensive list, and it's striking how many of them feel familiar, either in ourselves or people we know. And Wiest argues that these patterns often lead to what she calls a tipping point. She has this amazing metaphor.
The supernova one.
Yeah, the breakdown is often just the tipping point that precedes the breakthrough. The moment a star implodes before it becomes a supernova, it completely reframes breakdown, doesn't it?
It really does.
Right,
They
man.
usually see breakdown as the end, as failure.
Exactly. But she positions it as potentially necessary. Not just something to endure, but maybe even a prerequisite for major growth. It challenges our whole aversion to struggle. And this breakdown, it's not just about feeling bad, it's a crucial grounding moment. It's where you're almost forced into radical accountability, where you have to look at your own role, your own consent, even, in your struggles.
Consent. That's a strong word there.
It is, but it's meant in terms of recognizing participation. Asking, how have I been playing along with this pattern that keeps me stuck? It's not about harsh self-blame. It's about empowered awareness. You're not just a victim of this stuff.
Right, you have agency.
Exactly. And the real problem isn't the coping mechanism itself. The procrastination, the perfectionism, whatever it is. The problem is what it's trying to achieve. What's the underlying need it's trying to meet? Once you identify that, you can start finding healthier ways to meet that need instead of relying on the self-defeating strategy.
Okay, so the breakdown isn't the end. It's potentially the start of finding a better way. That makes so much sense. So if recognizing these patterns and understanding the needs beneath them is step one, what comes next? How do we actually climb the mountain?
Well, the absolute foundation, the first crucial step, is cultivating deep self-awareness.
Right. You can't change what you don't see.
Exactly. It's about shining a really bright light on those hidden patterns we just listed and then digging deeper to understand why they're there. This means serious introspection, looking inward, examining your thoughts, your feelings, your actions with honesty, becoming aware of that internal landscape.
It sounds like becoming a detective of your own mind.
Kind of. And Wiest has another quote that sums it up. The only thing standing between you and your highest potential is your own mind. Which is daunting, but also incredibly empowering, right?
Yeah, because it means the key is actually within your reach.
Absolutely. And this self-awareness isn't just intellectual. It's not about analyzing yourself like a textbook case. It's more visceral, more felt. It's a courageous dive into yourself.
Peeling back the layers, as they say.
Exactly. Peeling back societal expectations, family narratives, but also the stories you've told yourself. Shedding those borrowed identities to find what's authentically you underneath. It's that plunge into the depths, facing fears, insecurities, but also your hidden potential.
which can be just as scary sometimes.
It really can. And this process, it's not always neat and tidy. It can be confusing, uncomfortable. But Wiest stresses that growth happens in that discomfort. Leaning into the confusion is often the first step towards clarity. And a huge part of this is confronting denial. You absolutely have to be willing to acknowledge your true feelings to stop pretending you're okay with a life that's making you unhappy.
Taking that honest look, even if it hurts.
Yes, full accountability, even if it feels like hitting rock bottom. But again, rock bottom isn't the end. It's often the turning point, the catalyst. It sparks that deep desire for change, that declaration of never again.
Like fuel.
Exactly. Fuel born from self-respect. So, practically speaking, how do we build this muscle? Wiest gives great tools. One of the best is daily journaling for self-discovery.
Just writing stuff down.
Yeah, but intentionally.
Okay.
Focusing on your thoughts and feelings, unfiltered, and acts like a mirror. You start seeing the patterns, the underlying needs, the fears driving the bus, even just 5 minutes a day. Ask yourself guiding questions. What am I really afraid of here? What need is this behavior trying to meet?
That sounds doable.
And another good one is a weekly self-sabotage check-in. Set aside maybe 20 minutes. Review the common signs we talked about. Where did you notice them in your week? Where did you resist? Where did you seek external validation? It brings the unconscious into the conscious.
Like a regular tune-up for your awareness.
Precisely. And remember that quote. Your greatest fears are often the key to your greatest growth. That flips fear from a stop sign into a compass, pointing you exactly where you need to go. Maybe just try one this week. Pick one small area where you feel stuck and just journal about it or do a quick check-in. The insights might surprise you.
That self-awareness piece feels foundational. Okay, so once you start seeing the patterns, understanding the why, what's the next layer?
The next crucial layer is cultivating emotional intelligence, or EI. This isn't just about, being aware of your feelings. It's about understanding them, managing them effectively, and using that understanding to respond thoughtfully instead of just reacting.
So less knee-jerk reactions, more considered responses.
Exactly. And a really big part of this, something the book unpacks beautifully, is learning to distinguish between genuine intuition, that deep inner knowing, and those loud, often anxiety-fueled intrusive thoughts.
Oh, that's a tough one sometimes. They can both feel so real.
They absolutely can. That's why understanding the difference is key. Wiest describes intuition as this deep-down intelligence, often felt in the gut, and there's real science behind that gut-brain connection, the vagus nerve, serotonin.
It's not just woo-woo.
Not at all. Intuition usually feels calm, sensible, rational. It operates from the present moment. And she says it often starts as a whisper. Ignore it, and it gets louder, sometimes turning into a scream. It's a signal you need to heed.
Okay, a calm, present knowing. What about intrusive thoughts?
They're more like mental traps. Cognitive bias is playing tricks on you. They tend to project way into the future, like a frantic fortune teller predicting doom.
Catastrophizing.
Totally. They feel fearful, panic. They make you jump to extreme conclusions. And worrying, as the book says, it doesn't protect you. It just makes you suffer the worst-case scenario in your head, often for no reason. It can be fueled by psychic thinking, assuming you know what others think or what will happen, or faulty inferences, drawing wrong conclusions from right facts.
So the feeling is different. Intuition feels calm. Intrusive thoughts feel...
That's a great way to put it. Chaos versus calm knowing. And beyond just telling them apart, we need to actually process our emotions. We can't just stuff them down or power through.
That never works long-term.
Nope. Wiest emphasizes making space for them, feeling them. Emotions have energy. They live in the body. Techniques like meditation, deep breathing, even just moving your body, walking, dancing, can help release that stuck emotional energy, that backlog. Because worrying, it's the weakest defense system.
It just drains you.
Exactly. And we need to understand healthy versus destructive emotions. Anger, for example, isn't inherently bad. Constructive anger signals a boundary violation, motivates action. That's different from destructive aggression. Sadness is a natural response to loss, part of healing. Allowing it is self-compassion.
Not weakness.
Definitely not. Which leads to emotional validation. Simply acknowledging your feelings without judgment. I feel angry, and that's okay. I feel scared, and that's human. This simple act is incredibly disarming. It reduces the intensity. When we can't validate ourselves internally, we often seek it externally, constantly needing others to say our feelings are okay.
Learning to give that validation to yourself first.
Yes. And finally, this critical insight, that disconnect between action and feeling. Wiest says, taking action despite our emotions is often the best way to move our lives forward.
Wait, so act even if you don't feel like it.
Precisely. Our feelings are wired for comfort, safety, the familiar. Growth happens outside that zone. You might know rationally what you need to do, but you don't feel motivated. The key is act before you feel like it. Action builds momentum. Action creates the motivation. Motivation doesn't just magically appear. You generate it by doing the thing.
That's huge. Don't wait for the feeling. Create the feeling through action.
Exactly. So maybe we'll reflect.
Yeah.
When did a gut feeling turn out right? When did anxiety lead you astray? And how can you practice validating your feelings this week, but not letting them stop you from taking action you know is right for you?
Acting before you feel like it, that really turns things on their head. And it connects perfectly to another really challenging but liberating idea in the book. Wiest says, quote, "Your new life is going to cost you your old one. It's going to cost you your comfort zone. It's going to cost you relationships and friends, being liked and understood. It doesn't matter."
Wow, that's blunt.
It is, but it underscores this core message. Change is essential for growth. Trying to resist it just makes things harder, more stagnant. Growth happens outside the comfort zone, and that feeling of discomfort, it's not a stop sign. It might actually be a signal for opportunity.
Yeah, our resistance to change is so deeply wired in. Weiss talks about the homeostatic impulse. Our bodies, our minds, they crave stability, predictability, like a thermostat trying to keep everything the same.
Even if the same isn't great.
Even then. That's why even positive change can cause adjustment shock. It's still new, still stressful to the system. Our internal thermostat goes, whoa, what's happening?
Give me an example of that.
Okay, say you land your absolute dream job. Better pay, less stress, more creativity. Amazing, right?
Sounds perfect.
But even then, you might feel weird. Maybe anxious about the new responsibilities or unsure what to do with the extra free time, or even just a subtle sense of unease because it's so different from what you're used to. That discomfort isn't a sign the job is wrong. It's your whole system recalibrating, trying to find a new normal. It's that homeostatic impulse kicking in.
Okay, so discomfort doesn't automatically mean bad decision.
Not at all. And this leads to the idea of the anti-fragile mind, which Wiss touches on. Our minds don't just want peace and quiet. They actually need challenges, adversity, even a bit of chaos to get stronger, like muscles need resistance.
So avoiding all challenges actually makes us weaker.
In a way, yes. If we deny ourselves real challenges, the brain can kind of invent problems. Internal conflicts, pointless worries, interpersonal drama, things that stress us out but offer no real growth or reward. It's like fighting shadows instead of climbing a real mountain. An anti-fragile mind learns to use stress as fuel for growth.
So how do we overcome that resistance, that pull back to the familiar?
Well, often, the tipping point comes when the pain of staying the same finally becomes greater than the fear or discomfort of changing.
The discomfort equation shifts.
Exactly. And that might mean getting comfortable with making bigger shifts, even if they feel scary. Like, if you hate your job but fear quitting, maybe the risky step is just researching other options online or talking to someone in a field that interests you. Small steps that make the big change feel less terrifying.
Making the unknown slightly more known.
Yes. And the book encourages actively seeking risky opportunities. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start that project or business. Take a small risk, put something out there, get started. The perfect moment is usually created by taking action, not by waiting. So maybe think, where are you resisting change right now? What's one small, maybe slightly uncomfortable or risky step you could take this week just to nudge yourself forward?
That tipping point idea is key when staying put hurts more than moving. Okay, so if we're leaning into discomfort, taking small risks, what's the secret sauce for making change actually stick? Because big changes often fizzle out.
Right. And this is where Wiest delivers maybe one of the most liberating insights. You don't change in breakthroughs, you change in micro-shifts.
Micro-shifts, tiny changes.
Exactly. It dismantles that myth that we need some huge dramatic epiphany or a massive life overhaul overnight. Real lasting transformation, she argues, is built slowly, consistently, through small, almost unnoticeable daily actions.
It's the tortoise, not the hare, of personal growth.
Totally. And these micro-shifts are genius because they bypass that adjustment shock we talked about. They're too small to trigger your system's alarm bells. They gently recondition your mind and build new habits without that feeling of overwhelming disruption.
Okay, give me some examples of micro shifts.
All right, say you want to wake up earlier. Instead of abruptly setting your alarm 2 hours back, which feels awful and rarely sticks, you set it just 10 minutes earlier for a week. Then maybe another 10 the next week. Gradual, gentle, sustainable.
Much less jarring.
Or think financially. Saving $5 a day seems tiny, right? But compound that over decades with interest, and it becomes a massive amount. It's the power of consistency over time.
Like James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits, right? The compound interest of habits.
Exactly. It's the same principle. Good habits might not seem to change much today, but the long-term payoff is huge. Bad habits seem harmless today, but the long-term cost is devastating. The key is consistency, making tiny intentional choices every day until they become automatic.
And you don't need to feel motivated to start these tiny shifts.
Nope. That's the beauty. You don't wait for inspiration, you just commit to the tiny action. That action itself builds the momentum, and eventually the motivation follows. You create the feeling by doing. So maybe pick one tiny micro shift for this week, something so small it feels almost effortless to do every day.
Micro shifts. I like that. It makes big goals feel less daunting. But okay, even with micro shifts, there's still the weight of the past, right? Old traumas, limiting beliefs, they feel like anchors sometimes.
They absolutely can. And the book is clear. Real growth, real self-mastery requires not just acknowledging that past, but actively processing and releasing those emotional burdens, shedding that weight so it doesn't dictate your future.
And what about fear? It can be paralyzing.
Right. The message isn't to eliminate fear, that's probably impossible. It's to acknowledge it, understand its roots, and then channel that energy. Use the fear itself as fuel for action, rather than letting it freeze you.
Repurpose the fear. Okay, tell me more about dealing with the past, especially trauma.
Well, it's crucial to understand trauma isn't just a story in your head. It gets stored physically in your body at a cellular level. It can keep your nervous system stuck in fight or flight.
It changes your biology.
It really can.
Yeah.
Neurologically, things change. The amygdala, the brain's alarm center, can become hyperactive. The hippocampus, involved in memory and emotion regulation, can shrink. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning and self-control, can function less effectively. This explains things like fragmented memories, being easily triggered, feeling unsafe. So recovery isn't just about thinking differently. It often involves restoring a felt sense of safety in your body and life.
That sounds like deep work. How does Wiest suggest we actually let go of this stuff?
Interestingly, she says you can't force yourself to let go. It's not an act of will like deciding to clean your room. Instead, letting go happens gradually as you focus on building a new life. A life that's so engaging, so meaningful, so aligned with who you are now, that the past naturally starts to lose its grip.
You outgrow it rather than fight it.
Exactly. You're building something more compelling. And part of that process might involve allowing yourself to fall apart sometimes.
Which sounds counterintuitive.
It does. But it means giving yourself permission to grieve, to feel the sadness, the anger, the exhaustion, without judgment. Not weakness, but a necessary part of healing. Acknowledging the pain allows you to move through it, eventually realizing you're still here, still standing.
Allowing the process.
Yes. She also suggests techniques like imaginative healing, revisiting a past painful memory. But this time, visualizing your adult self, offering comfort and wisdom to your younger self in that moment, reframing your relationship to the memory, integrating it with compassion.
That sounds powerful.
It can be. It's also about releasing unrealistic expectations about healing. It's not about becoming perfectly fixed or erasing the past. It's about showing up as you are, scars and all, and trusting that what's not meant for you will not stay. When things leave your life, even painful exits, it might be clearing space for what truly belongs. As you take those micro shifts towards the new life, the past loosens its hold, bit by bit.
So it's an organic process fueled by present action. And how does this tie into transforming fear?
It comes back to disconnecting action from feeling. You often won't feel like doing the scary thing, even if you know it's right. Acknowledge the fear. Okay, fear, I see you. Understand its roots. What old story is this connected to? And then choose the action anyway. Channel the nervous energy into movement. And importantly, reframe the past trauma narrative. Acknowledge the pain, yes, but also identify the lessons, the resilience, the strength you gained because you went through it. Turn the victim story into a survivor story, or even a wisdom story.
Changing the narrative.
Yes. So maybe think about a past event that still feels heavy. What's one small symbolic release you could do? Maybe write about the lessons learned, or just consciously acknowledge the pain, then visualize yourself stepping forward.
Integrating the past to empower the future. Okay, so after all this work, self-awareness, EI, embracing change, micro shifts, dealing with the past, where do we go? How do we actively shape the future we want?
This is where visualizing your future self comes in. It's not just daydreaming. It's a powerful tool for guidance and motivation.
Like creating a blueprint.
Exactly. It helps align your daily actions, even those tiny micro shifts, with your bigger goals and principles. It gives you a clear direction, your true north.
Okay, so how does Wiest suggest we do this? What's the roadmap to self-mastery here?
She lays out 6 key steps. Step 1, visualize your future self. Find a quiet space, get centered, and literally invite your highest potential future self, the wisest, most empowered version of you, to have a conversation. Notice everything. How they look, feel, act. Ask them for guidance on your current challenges, and really listen.
Like getting advice from your future wise self.
Precisely. Step 2, transform into your most powerful self now. Ask, what choices would that future self make today? How would they handle this specific situation? This bridges the gap between the vision and your present actions. Embody that future self.
Don't just admire them, be them.
Yes. Step 3, adopt personal principles. These aren't vague ideas. They're your fundamental truths, your non-negotiables, carved from experience and aspiration. Like, for money, live below your means. For relationships, value honesty. These principles guide your choices consistently, more reliably than fleeting inspiration.
Your personal operating system.
Good way to put it. Step 4, master emotional control. Remember, not suppression. Acknowledge the feeling, understand it, then choose actions aligned with your values and goals. Control your behavior, not deny your emotions.
Respond, don't react.
Exactly. Step 5, find purpose and enjoy the present. Your purpose isn't just one job or role. Primarily, Wiest says, it's just to be here. Finding deeper purpose often happens at the intersection of skills, interests, and needs, frequently revealed through challenges. But crucially, contentment lies in appreciating this moment, not just striving for the next one.
Purpose in being, not just doing.
Beautifully said. And step 6, embrace life's little joys. Simple pleasures, coffee, a book, laughter, sunshine. These aren't trivial, they're vital nourishment for the soul. They provide the texture and richness of life amidst the mountain climbing.
Don't forget the base camp comforts.
Absolutely. So practically, keep journaling, keep doing the future self visualization regularly. Ask how that future self would act. Align your actions with your core desires. Write down what makes you unhappy. Check if your actions serve your long-term goals. Follow your gut, intuition, not fear. Basically, let your most powerful self be the CEO of your life. Maybe try that visualization this week. See what guiding principle pops out for you.
That's a really clear framework. Be the CEO of your life, guided by principles and future vision, enjoying the little things along the way. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the ultimate destination of this climb? What's the summit we're aiming for?
This is maybe the most profound shift the book offers. The ultimate goal isn't just chasing happiness.
Which can be pretty elusive and temporary.
Exactly. Happiness is often fickle, dependent on external things, achievements, ego boosts. Wiest says if happiness is your only goal, you'll always find unhappiness lingering just behind it. It's a constant chase.
The hedonic treadmill.
Right. The real aim, the more stable and fulfilling summit, is inner peace.
Okay, define inner peace in this context.
It's a stable sense of calm, resilience, a deep internal knowing that fundamentally everything is okay and will be okay, regardless of the external chaos. It's not dependent on circumstances. It's a state of being you can choose to return to. It's always available within you.
Sounds less fragile than happiness.
Much less.
Yeah.
So why do we feel it all the time? Wiest points to things like childhood conditioning beliefs adopted for safety that no longer serve us. Our inner child with its old fears and wounds can pull us off balance. And sometimes, frankly, we avoid looking inward because facing past hurts feels too difficult. That avoidance blocks peace.
So how do we cultivate it? How do we find that inner calm?
Wiest offers several practices. First, arrive into the present. Let go of ruminating on the past or anxiously projecting into the future. Be here now. Stop trying to dominate or control relationships. Seek equality and connection. Really lean into the little joys. Appreciate the small good things every day.
Cultivating gratitude for the mundane.
Yes. Nurture positive relationships that uplift you. Keep learning something new. Stay curious. See challenging times as opportunities for growth, not just setbacks. Be very aware of what you give your energy to. Your thoughts shape your feelings, so guard your focus. And, crucially, schedule time to do nothing and time to play.
Permission to just be.
Absolutely. Relaxation, creativity, simplicity, they're not luxuries. They're essential for peace. Ultimately, becoming a master of yourself means taking full responsibility, knowing you have the power to respond constructively to anything, and seeing challenges not as roadblocks, but as the path itself, the path to discovering your strongest self. So think about that difference, chasing happiness versus cultivating inner peace. What's one small thing you could do today to be more present or appreciate a simple joy?
That's a powerful shift in focus. Wow, what a journey we've been on today, digging into the mountain is you. From really getting the nuances of self-sabotage to visualizing that highest self.
Yeah.
There's so many valuable tools here for navigating our inner worlds.
There really are. And it's important to reiterate, while this book and our discussion offer incredibly valuable insights for personal growth, they aren't a replacement for professional help.
Right. If you're dealing with severe mental health issues, trauma, or just feel really overwhelmed, seeking support from a therapist or counselor is absolutely the right and often necessary step.
Definitely. And keeping that in mind, maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Those mountains you've been thinking about today, the internal obstacles, the fears, the limiting beliefs,
Mm.
they aren't actually there to stalk you. They are the path.
Hmm.
Understanding them, facing them, navigating them, that's precisely how you uncover that strongest, most authentic version of yourself waiting at the summit. So the question is, what mountain will you start exploring first?
This was it on today's book, guys. Kindly subscribe to the channel for more such insights on various books, and also do not forget to join our social media community to stay in touch and get updated.